Welcome everyone, Attorney Rilus Dana here. Going to be talking about some of the updates at Rilus Law and Maat Legal. I just finished some in-person events at my Mesa office and in Payson, Arizona. Went really well. It's nice to meet with you guys in person. I've had a lot of fun doing YouTube and the social media, but there is a different vibe in person. So it was nice to do that. We'll be doing that again first of the year, so be on the lookout for that. If you're watching live, go ahead and feel free to leave comments, or even if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and leave comments and I'll try to get to them in the future. So let me pull up my screen here today. So this is the agenda. I'm going to talk about some of our team members and new team members, some of the changes at Rilus Law, some of the legal updates, how the big beautiful bill affects estate planning, and the new Arizona and California probate laws. Oops. Okay, so I've always had Maat Legal. Maat Legal is my practice management company. It actually runs Rilus Law. So I'm bringing Maat Legal out a little bit more, and I have a new YouTube channel. So if you're an attorney or interested in the business side, technology, and AI, make sure you subscribe to that channel. It's at Maat Legal AI. I'll be talking more in depth there about AI. I'm going to show you some of the AI things I use in this video today, but to go deeper, on the back end, you can go to that channel, Maat Legal AI, and I'll show you how I actually made some of the AI tools. My human team members, let's start with my human team members. Human first. I love technology, but I'm still human first. We have Brooke and Raquel on the phones. So it's important to have, real life people. I feel like I strive to have at least 2 people answering the phones during the day. And then I have Cindy, my estate planning paralegal that does all the drafting, and Lori is our probate and trust administration paralegal. She manages all those cases. All right, let's talk about robots now. Is it fun to see robots fail? I guess the derogatory term or the slur is called clankers. But I still think it's funny to see robots fail. This picture was a couple weeks ago. Phoenix, there was massive rainstorms and floods, and the robot cars did not do so well. The Waymos got stuck in a lot of places. And those Waymos kind of freak me out. I stay way away from them when I'm driving. I've seen them make, a lot of questionable moves. So yeah, so now that I've bashed robots and told you I'm human first, let's talk about some of my robots. So we got Phil here. This is an internal bot. Isn't he cute? Jessica's our voice agent bot. DB23 is a text bot. He lives on our website. And then we got Hornsby. He's a Hornsbook. If you guys know what a hornbook is, leave a comment if you know what a hornbook is and the origin of that. So I've had a lot of fun with these AI, and I use Nano Banana to make these little images and graphics. All right. Oops, I keep freezing it. All right, how do we get to the next page? Okay, let's talk about DB23. He started his life out as just DanaBot in 2023, and I thought it'd be cooler to change it to DB23, kind of like R2D2. So you can find him at riluslaw.com. I've noticed people are interacting with this more and more. So I've had it for a couple of years. In the beginning, it wasn't that big of a deal. Not that many people were interacting with it. But now I see more people having effective conversations with this on my website. So the nice thing about it, 24/7, it's there. I've programmed this one so it will kind of answer some legal questions. Like if you want to know who the beneficiary is, if there's no will, things like that, it'll help give some guidance. And then it can send the intake survey if people are ready to get started right now. So that's DB23. And then people tuning in, if you want to learn more about these bots, you can go to Maat Legal AI, and I'll be explaining how I built these bots. So these are some of our practice areas. So Rilus Law is my law firm. I practice in Arizona and California, focus on probate, estate planning, trust administration, and I have some new office locations. So I moved my whoops, I moved my Scottsdale office to the McCormick Ranch area. I was on Thomas Road, but moved it a little bit further north. I have more clients in that area, so seemed like a good fit. I'm back in Payson, Arizona. I had an office there for years, and then I closed it down after COVID, but now I'm back up there. Had a lot of clients up there asking me to come back, so I'm back. It's good to be back in Payson. And then I opened a new Flagstaff, Arizona office. I like going up there to the mountains, so I thought I should have an office up there. So this bot DB23, he can give some general guidance, and if people are ready to get started, he'll send them this link. And this link, the link, if people fill that out, it gives them, they can tell us a little bit more about what they're looking for, and that'll go to my human team right away, and then they can help them once they submit that intake. This is Jessica. She's our voice AI. So like I said, I have a couple people answering the phones during the day, but if they're both busy or if you call after hours, it'll roll over to our voice AI, Jessica. Now, this is my second generation voice AI. The first one was not very good, did not last very long. Although it was good for probably 80% of the conversations, 20% were just so bad and so horrible, I had to turn it off. But now the technology has gotten a little bit better, and I also simplified what she does. So if people just want to leave a message, you can take a simple message, just like voicemail, so people don't get too overwhelmed. But if they're ready to get started right now, then she can send them a text message that has a link so they can do the survey to get started. So both of these tools are available, 24 hours a day, and I'm seeing people start to use these more and more, and I think that's going to be the trend. I think society is going to get more and more comfortable with these tools, and also as our estate planning clients get younger, the people that are administering their parents' estate, as they start getting younger, I think more of them are going to like those tools. So Phil, he's our internal bot. We use him for training. Our intake method is called the PIL method. It stands for positivity, identify, and lead. So our newest receptionist, we were able to, this is a resource that she can use. She has any questions about how we want to handle the call. Let's see here. Got a comment from Tim. Do you call the intake document a survey in order to screen clients, i.e., instead of calling it an intake form? Yeah, so we have a personal inventory that we do, Tim. So the first little survey, it's just saying, what their name is, letting us know if they're interested in estate planning, probate, or trust administration. If they select estate planning or probate or trust administration, then they'll get what we call the personal inventory to do the intake. And I have two different ones. It's one for estate planning, and then if someone passed away or is incapacitated, we have a different personal inventory that we use for that. Thanks for the question. All right, this is Phil. Isn't he cute? So yeah, he's a pill, but it's a positivity, identify, lead. So that's the process my team follows to help people. Let's find that. Get back to this. All right, this is Hornsby. He's a horn book. Do you guys know what a horn book is? Leave a comment if you've ever heard of a horn book. Well, this is my research assistant. He started his life being called this legal assistant. Then I decided to give him some more personality, and he became Hornsby. I use chat-based to create this. So if you're interested in how to create these bots, you can go to my Maat Legal AI YouTube page, and you'll see more information about that. So let's talk about some of the law changes. So the big beautiful bill, A lot of tax changes in there. These are some of the changes that affect estate planning. The major thing for estate planning is it made that exemption permanent at 15 million, meaning if someone has less than 15 million, they do not have to pay any estate taxes. That was scheduled to sunset and go away, but it's now made permanent. Portability is also that's been locked in as well. So portability means your spouse's exemption against the death tax is portable even without a trust. So a married couple can pass 30 million without any estate taxes, without even doing any fancy planning at all. All right, let's go on to the Arizona and California probate laws. So this is an example straight from Hornsby. You can see how I use this research tool to tell me about the new Arizona and California laws. I did program him and I updated him with the new laws and the new changes, so he'd have all this information. So in Arizona, they changed the limits for personal property to be able to do a personal property affidavit. It was $75,000. Now it's gone all the way up to $200,000. So pretty big change. And for real property, it was $100,000. Now it's $300,000. So there's still the same 30-day waiting period for the personal property affidavit. And this is for Arizona. And for real estate, there's a 6-month waiting period. Other requirements, this is if no personal representative has been appointed and there's no other issues or problems. Practical notes, banks and title companies often have their own forms. Oops. Yeah, banks and title companies often have their own forms, their own versions they like to be used. ADOT MVD has their version. They usually give them to people if you go down there and ask for it. Now, if assets exceed the limits or there are disputes, so if there are any problems or if this is not accepted, then you have to do an informal probate. Sources. So I have Hornsby cite the sources every time. The thing about AI is it can be confidently wrong. So I want to make sure that it cites its sources. So when I'm using this for research, I can go in and double check that it's not hallucinating and make sure I'm being factual. The California laws. So California raised the amount for personal property to $208,000, and that requires a waiting period of 40 days. And then for a primary residence, this is new in California. So if you have a primary residence up to $750,000, there's a way to avoid probate. All right, let's go through some probate basics. I got to do it every time. There's still a lot of misconceptions about probate. So let's cover the basics really quick. She passes away. Beneficiary of the life insurance, no problem. Joint owner of the house, no problem. This bank account in the deceased name, problem. So a last will and testament says who's going to be in charge of the estate, who the fiduciary is, called the personal representative, and who the beneficiaries are. But if he walks in the bank and says, hey, I got the will, can I have the money? The bank's going to say, no, we need a court order. So that's what probate is. It's the process of appointing the personal representative of the estate. Now, once they get appointed through probate, the authority is clear. They get their PR letters from the court, and they can go to any institution and show that they have the authority for the estate. So if there's real property, they can sell it at that time. Any bank accounts and investments, they can collect it as a personal representative. All right, takes quite a few steps, takes a little bit of time. Now, here's how a trust works. So after the person passes away, trust is irrevocable. Successor trustee gets appointed. So that green fiduciary hat, and then the trust designates who the beneficiaries are. And once the trustee gets appointed, the authority is clear. So once they accept the duty as trustee, we have them sign a document. You can get all those in our trustee toolkit, but the authority is clear. All right. So going back, yeah. So the good thing about probate and trust administration, the authority is clear. With these mini probates, I call it a mini probate if they qualify for those substitutes. So if the personal property in Arizona is less than 200,000 or the real estate is less than 300,000, they could qualify for one of these mini probates. The thing about it is no PR gets appointed, and it's also permissive, meaning banks do not have to accept it. They can still require you to get the probate authority. They can still require that. All right. Do companies have to accept small estate affidavits? Short answer, no. They can reject them. It's permissive. They can accept them, but they do not have to. So if there's anything they don't like about it, and some companies will just flat out, they just don't accept it. This is also common if you have companies outside of Arizona or California. They're going, "What is this affidavit? You know, we don't care about your California or Arizona laws. We want to see something from the court." So that's what it means that these are permissive. So they may not work to collect the account, and you'll have to go to probate anyways. If there's savings bonds or federal assets, these don't work for that. So you have to do a regular probate for those types of assets. All right. So I call this the in between, these mini probates. It's in between a full probate and using this other authority. Now, if there's only one account, it might make sense to go that way. But if there's several accounts, it might be easier to do a probate. So I'm going to be discussing this a lot more, what I call the in between. I feel like these new law changes, in a way, they make our job harder. There's already a lot of people that might qualify for some of these personal property affidavits, but even though they do, probate's still going to be the easier way. Or like if the house is already going into foreclosure, maybe they're behind on payments and they don't have time to wait the 6 months to file that real property affidavit. So they still might need a probate. So stay tuned for that. Attorneys watching out there, I'm going to be doing a CLE November 13th. So for more information about that, go to my Maat Legal AI YouTube. There'll be more information there as soon as we get it finalized. Hopefully we'll have that in the next couple of days. I won't charge for the month of October. If you sign up through October, I just ask that you subscribe to my new Maat Legal AI YouTube channel. As long as you subscribe to that, I'll waive the fees for that. And then November, I'll start charging a fee for the last people to come into that. So clients out there, anyone looking for help with estate planning, probate, trust administration, Arizona, California, reach out to me, Rilus Law. Attorneys, make sure you follow along at Maat Legal AI. I'll be sharing more information out there about the tech side and the business side of being a lawyer. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.